So now how do we turn this into this? Well, we just look at a few things. So the kids are often asking me, well, how do I become a better drawer, Mr. Kuhn? And I tell them, well, it's not that you're going to become magically more talented. What it is you're just going to start including more things into your drawing. You're going to include details that make your drawings more interesting. You're going to shade for both form and for color. You're going to add textures to your objects, and you're going to give things cast shadows. This is what's going to make your drawing better, just including these various elements into it. Okay, so let's take a look at this one by one for this drawing. Now, in future drawings, I won't be going over all the shading, the textures, all that kind of stuff, because I'll figure that you already know that stuff. More will be just concentrating on the structures, at least in this perspective series. So the first thing we think, like, well, okay, if I was looking at a window, more than likely the window would have a frame around it. So let's go ahead and do that. One thing you'll notice at the bottom of a window, it usually has something of a ledge. So that'll be a little bit different than the frame around the rest of the window. So here we'll just draw for that right here. Okay, so not super fancy molding or anything like that, but just a little something. And then most windows, if you look at them nowadays, also they are double paned and they'll have sort of a vinyl inside. I remember when I was a kid, they would have more like aluminum or other things. But mostly we tend to see this frame window, so we've got that as well. So that has become a lot more interesting. Okay, with all those various layers of detail on them. Okay, same thing with the door. Okay, maybe a little bit in the corner right there. Same here. Okay, and then most houses have some sort of molding at the bottom. Some have it on the top too, but most all of them have it at the bottom. So we'll add a little bit of molding to the bottom there. And of course we've got to have the doorknob. Okay, so here's the doorknob. And most places have a deadbolt at this point. They didn't have that when I was younger either. Alright, maybe it's fancier. It's got a little bit of a plate for that. Who knows? Who knows what yours has? Okay. Alright, and so then this window, same thing, wouldn't it? So here's a little ledge for, and this one I will go ahead and, here's my vanishing point was right here. Draw that out, because otherwise that might not work. And so that this line matches my other lines, I'll go ahead and hand draw that. Alrighty. So we got that. And this here, since it's the perspective, I'm going to go ahead and line that up. Alright. Okay. Now the window, here's something that's going to be a little bit different about this one, is that it's going to have some thickness to it, isn't it? So let's do this. We've got this lined up nice and horizontal. I'm going to draw that in a little bit. We're going to determine how thick is that wall. You know, I'm in California these days, and so the walls mostly are 2x4, so they're not super thick. When I was in Oregon, they'd have 2x6 construction, so they'd be a little bit thicker right here for the wall. But there, that gives me just a little bit. It'll make it more realistic, for sure, because the walls are going to have some thickness to them, aren't they? Okay, and continuing with making my molding over here. And we can just fake that in a little bit. And here, I think I'll use this as a guide for this too. That'll make things a lot easier. And then the windows themselves, once again, they would have that vinyl frame in between your double your double paned windows. So here, and okay. And those don't look too inconsistent, so I'll just leave it like that. But you see, that's given this window so much more depth, so much more of a sense of realism than it would have when it was just a line. That's the kind of thing you really want to include in your drawings. Okay, and so for these guys right here, if I wanted to find where the handle was, all I'd have to do is draw a little X right there, right here. I've drawn it nice and light, and so that will help me to locate my handles. This maybe here, and for this here, I could do the same thing. So let's say I want a handle, it's going to be about like that, maybe. So if I line it up in perspective, then I'll know, okay, the handle on the other cabinet, maybe about there, and about here. See, and that will help me to get it to be the right size. Always going back to that vanishing point. Everything that would go to the vanishing point, you should make go back to the vanishing point. Because that's the whole beauty of perspective, isn't it? Okay. Well, that's about it as far as the details. Well, one more thing. I thought, what would be really nice on here is a little bit of a rug. A little bit of a throw rug. So, or an area rug as they call them. Maybe right about, let's say about like this. And maybe it'd be just this side of the couch bottom right about here. And that helps me just to fill in this area and give it a little bit more interest. If you're really into it, you could draw an intricate pattern, like let's say one of those Indian rugs would be. Here we go. So, okay, so there's my basic construction with a little bit of details. Next comes the shading and the shadowing.